live on Facebook. Say what's up real quick, man.
What's going on? What's going on, Dante Nation fans? Bo Mac.
Bo Mac, Terrence Crawford trainer right here.
Watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So ESPN is at it again, huh? You know, first thing I want to say before I get into this is, originally I wasn't even going to do a video on this story because ESPN has come to the point to where they're so biased, I don't really think anyone takes what they say seriously. No one takes their pound for pound list seriously. And most certainly, no one takes what Max Kellerman says seriously. But I had people sending me the links, asking me to do a video, giving my response to what they said. Teddy Atlas and Max Kellerman, of course. So let's get into it. So the show starts off with Max Kellerman and Teddy Atlas giving Terrence Crawford what I call backhand compliments. They start complimenting Terrence Crawford on his instincts. Teddy Atlas says that he's the best instinctual fighter of all time. And then they say that he's also one of the greatest, him and Andre Ward, the best switch hitter of all time. Now, what happened next I thought was kind of funny. Now, I don't think Terrence Crawford would have thought it was funny if he's seen it, but while they were giving Terrence Crawford these compliments, they just put up a graphic showing that Lomachenko is pound for pound the best fighter in the world, according to ESPN, while they're talking about how great Terrence Crawford is. Now, one thing I do have to give credit to Teddy Atlas for, he is bold as hell, because this is not the first time he or ESPN has done something like this. The last time, Teddy Atlas, he said to Andre Ward and Terrence Crawford, he said this to their face, that Lomachenko was pound for pound the best fighter in the world, in his opinion. Now listen, let me just say this. Now, if Lomachenko was pound for pound, the undisputed pound for pound best fighter in the world, it would be nothing wrong with what they just did. But with ESPN's long history of racial double standards, with people like Dan Rafael, Max Kellerman, and even some of the recent contradictions that Teddy Atlas has made, which I'm gonna talk about later on in this video, it comes off as a conflict of interest when you hear them talk about a pound for pound list. ESPN is the new HBO. It's the new Fox News of boxing. And that's exactly what Max Kellerman wanted. He wanted to basically follow in Jim Lampley's footsteps. So now he wants to be the Jim Lampley of ESPN. For those of you guys who forgot or aren't too familiar with Jim Lampley, he was the grand wizard of the decafs. Decaf stands for dumb casual ass fans, if you don't already know. Okay, moving on. So after treating Terrence Crawford so well, then they decide to start attacking Floyd Mayweather. But you have to really, really pay attention to everything they're saying, because this is so deep when you decipher everything. Because they're dissing Floyd Mayweather, right? Now, we know Floyd Mayweather was the undisputed pound for pound best fighter in the world. They're dissing Floyd Mayweather while using Terrence Crawford as an example of what Floyd Mayweather was supposed to be. But while they're doing that, they're still saying Terrence Crawford himself is not pound for pound the best fighter in the world. You guys see how that works? This is all done by design, guys, to protect Lomachenko and anyone else on the hope list that they want to protect. Speaking of protecting Lomachenko, remember ESPN is the same network that recently put up a graphic showing that Lomachenko was actually undefeated. You guys see what that hope insurance gets you? When you got that hope insurance, it covers everything. Now it even covers blemishes on your record. That's right. Now they will remove losses off your record when you have your hope insurance. So don't leave home without that hope card. Now, before I talk about the many contradictions and them attacking Floyd Mayweather, I want to share some more of ESPN and Max Kellerman's greatest hits. Remember, guys, Max Kellerman is the same guy who said immediately right after Floyd Mayweather beat Manny Pacquiao that Manny Pacquiao was greater than Floyd Mayweather, and in fact should be considered the greatest of all time. If that's the case, why do we even have the fights if you're going to still say the loser is the winner? What's the point of even having the fight? That's like some kid winning a tournament, and instead of him getting the big trophy, you give the big trophy to the guy he just lost to. That alone should eliminate Max Kellerman from a serious conversation when we're talking about boxing. Then you have ESPN. ESPN, before Floyd Mayweather fought Manny Pacquiao, ESPN would constantly be blaming Floyd Mayweather on the fight not happening, and they would constantly say over and over, when are you gonna fight him? When are you gonna fight him? When are you gonna fight Manny Pacquiao? ESPN kept saying this, right? ESPN was actually saying this like months before the fight was announced. They were still saying it months before the fight was announced. When is this fight gonna happen? We need to see this fight, etc., etc., etc. As soon as Floyd Mayweather signed the contract, people like Joe Tessitore and other members of ESPN, they start automatically trashing the fight because they knew that Floyd Mayweather was going to win. Around the time that fight was announced, that was the first time I seen Joe Tessitore angry. He went off on air saying, you know, Floyd Mayweather, he just waited for Manny Pacquiao to get old and et cetera, and completely trashed the fight before they even had a fight. ESPN is also the network that after they kept asking and demanding for the Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather fight, once Floyd Mayweather beat Manny Pacquiao, they gave Ronda Rousey Fighter of the Year award over Floyd Mayweather. Coincidentally, the same year Ronda Rousey got knocked out. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, man. Okay, now let's get into what Teddy Atlas said about Floyd Mayweather. So once again, Teddy Atlas, he goes on this tirade talking about Floyd Mayweather, saying he was a cherry picker, he was a businessman, he never fought the best, etc., etc., etc. How ironic is it that Lomachenko just vacated his WBC belt to avoid Devin Haney? That's the guy that Teddy Atlas has at number 1. Now ESPN has Canelo at number 3, pound for pound. A guy that gave up 2 of his belts. He gave up his WBC belt to avoid Jamal Charlo. Canelo said that he wanted to unify the belts at 160. Canelo's own promoter, Oscar De La Hoya, said Canelo's going to have to fight Andre and Charlo to be great. And Canelo just recently said he doesn't want to fight Andre because he doesn't like his style. And Teddy Atlas is calling Floyd Mayweather a businessman. There's a whole lot of unpacking that needs to be done right now. Let's get back to the many Teddy Atlas contradictions. So when the Floyd Mayweather-Manny Pacquiao fight first got announced, ESPN and Teddy Atlas, he sat down with Floyd Mayweather, interviewed him. He asked Floyd Mayweather, why did it take you so long to fight Manny Pacquiao? Which is crazy to hear Teddy Atlas of all people ask that question, because it was Teddy Atlas who had said in 2008 that he had sources telling him that Manny Pacquiao's people had contacted Floyd Mayweather's people and asked them what would happen if Manny Pacquiao were to test positive for PEDs. Is there a way we can keep it confidential if that happens to save the fight? This is what Teddy Atlas said live on air when he was working with ESPN back in 2008. For years, Teddy Atlas, he blamed Manny Pacquiao on not taking that fight because Manny Pacquiao turned down a drug test. So once again, for the fans that didn't know why the Floyd Mayweather-Manny Pacquiao fight never took place right away, it was because Manny Pacquiao turned down an Olympic-style random drug test for PEDs, something that is damn near standard now. He turned it down. In fact, to hammer my point even further, I have an interview that I personally did with Freddie Roach. If you guys haven't seen it, all you have to do is search Freddie Roach Admits. Go on YouTube and just search Freddie Roach Admits Manny Pacquiao's fault or something like that. It'll pop up. I believe Freddie has a green shirt on in the thumbnail. In that video, Freddie Roach, not only does he say it was our fault that the fight didn't happen in the first place in 2008 because of the drug test that Manny Pacquiao didn't want to take. He also said in that interview that he believed Bob Arum always wanted to make that fight Manny Pacquiao's last fight, the fight against Floyd Mayweather, which is almost how it played out. You see, guys, on this channel, I don't give you my opinion. At least not when we're talking about stuff like this. I give you the whole truth. I give you the facts. You can sit over there and you can say whatever makes you feel better, but you cannot refute facts. And the facts are, once again, it was Manny Pacquiao who turned down the fight. Do you know Floyd Mayweather, he agreed to all of Manny Pacquiao's demands in the contract when they were negotiating back in 2008? The only person that didn't agree to all terms and demands was Manny Pacquiao. Here's another fun fact. Did you know that when Floyd Mayweather asked for the Olympic-style drug testing, Manny Pacquiao, he countered by saying, "Can we have a 21 cutoff day?" That means, can we stop testing 21 days before the fight? And obviously Floyd Mayweather said no, and then Manny Pacquiao, he asked for a 14-day cutoff. And of course, Floyd, he said no to that. Understand this, guys. No boxer has ever asked for a cutoff day when it comes to random drug testing. That's like you telling an employer that just offered you a great job, okay, I'll take the job, but my only demand is I don't want to be subject to random drug testing on Mondays, Tuesdays, or Wednesdays, okay? You think he gonna get that job? Hell to the no. So Teddy Atlas, he asked a question he knew the answer to, but he wanted to once again attack Floyd because it's personal. Everything that Teddy Atlas, and it's proven, everything that Teddy Atlas is saying about Floyd Mayweather, it is personal, which is what makes it a conflict of interest. That's why you cannot take it seriously. You know what's crazy? The man that Teddy Atlas looks up to, Customato. Matter of fact, in this interview right here, he called Customato the greatest boxing man ever. And he said, of course, that's my prejudice because Customato was his mentor. So he idolizes the great Customato. What's so funny about that is the same way he's talking about Floyd Mayweather is the exact same way Customato used to talk about Muhammad Ali. Customato would tell Ali that he fought nothing but bums and Joe Louis would have beat him, etc., etc. Here you have Teddy Atlas saying that Floyd Mayweather, he just cherry-picked, he fought fighters when they weren't that good, and then he compares them to Terrence Crawford, where he gives Crawford more credit than Mayweather, but still doesn't have Crawford ranked number one as the best fighter in the world. That's a hell of a coincidence, ain't it? I guess that's why we call it the coincidental list. That is a hell of a coincidence that they hated Muhammad Ali. And I always tell you guys this. Muhammad Ali was hated way more than Floyd Mayweather. The only reason he's loved now because he's no longer a threat to other fighters on the hope list. If Muhammad Ali was fighting today, as cocky and arrogant as he is, and moving around the ring, Teddy Atlas and everyone would be trashing him. ESPN, it would be worse than Floyd Mayweather. And he was a Muslim on top of that? Man, I was watching the Bumpy Johnson movie starring Forrest Whitaker as Bumpy Johnson. Really, really good movie. Check it out if you haven't watched it already. It's called Godfather of Harlem. But anyway, there's a scene where Bumpy Johnson is talking to Muhammad Ali. And they want Muhammad Ali to take a dive. And Muhammad Ali is like, I ain't taking no damn dive. I ain't trying to mess up my record. I am the greatest. This is what he said to Bumpy Johnson. And Bumpy pointed at him, he said, you see, that's why everybody hates you. You so damn cocky, etc., etc., etc. See, it comes down to this. When you have a black dominant champion in anything that he does, it's already bad enough that he's black and good. But then when he's confident and cocky on top of that, that enrages non-black fans because they're already praying for him to lose. But now you gotta see his damn teeth after every time he wins. You gotta see that damn smile with his arm being raised by the referee over and over again. This is what makes people like Teddy Atlas trash Floyd Mayweather. This is what makes Customato trash Muhammad Ali. You have to understand this. The hatred towards Floyd Mayweather is so deep-seated that it can make an educated boxing man like Teddy Atlas purposely say something that he knows is not true because he cannot talk about Floyd Mayweather without allowing his emotions to interfere. Like I said, he made it seem like it was Floyd Mayweather's fault that the fight didn't happen when he knew all along because it was him that was telling us, it's Manny Pacquiao, guys. It's Manny Pacquiao. I mean, that's like a man telling the police, it wasn't me, I didn't do it. And then the police, they surprise him by playing a recorded audio of him confessing to killing somebody. where he buried the body, how many times he stabbed him, right? I mean, he's willing to lie just to discount Mayweather as much as he can. You know, guys, when I was doing my live show, I had a guest on there, and matter of fact, he's another reporter. He's a white guy. He's done a show a couple times with me, actually. And the last time we did the show, we were talking about Floyd Mayweather, and we started talking about the racial double standards. Well, out of nowhere, he starts to talk as if racism or racial double standards towards black people doesn't exist at all. And he says the hatred towards Floyd Mayweather has absolutely nothing to do with race. And once again, he followed that up by saying that he didn't see any type of racial double standards towards black people. Now, here's the crazy part. So after we do the show, we continue talking about this. We talk about Floyd Mayweather, and I say to him, I say, look, I'm sure there's a little pressure for you. Like if you're talking with your friends, there's no black people around, you got some racist boxing fans. I'm sure if you say some good stuff about Floyd Mayweather, or you talk about how talented he is, he's pound for pound, you're gonna have somebody possibly call you a nigger lover. And you know what he said to me? He said, hey, I've been called that. I've been called that a couple of times. And he was referring to him saying true things about Floyd Mayweather that wasn't in a negative connotation. And that right there reminds me of one of Martin Luther King's best quotes. Martin, he said, in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends, end quote. Which really means they were never your friends. Because if you know that something is going down, but you remain silent, I mean, that's no different than you claiming you're my friend. You know my house got broken into, you actually know who did it, but you're telling me you don't know. That means you're an accomplice or the one that actually did it. And that's the exact reason why I completely cut off anyone that acts like they don't see the racial double standards that exist. I mean, I'm not going back and forth trying to conform someone into being a good person. They can act as naive as they want to. They just ain't gonna be doing it around me, I know that. I'm telling you, that's one of the best ways to combat racism. When they act like it doesn't exist, you act like they don't exist. Now, I know some people will say, well, hey, you got some black people who don't like Floyd Mayweather as well. Well, think about this. Just like the white guy I told you I had on my show before, he pretty much implied that he didn't want to be saying good things about Floyd because he didn't want to be called a nigger lover again. Well, if a white person feels that way, imagine how black people feel, some black people, at least the ones that don't have thick skin like myself, because I don't care what you call me, but imagine how they feel, the ones that don't have the tough skin. How do they feel in a boxing world where 80% of the fans are non-black and a huge percentage of them are racist? If you're always around a huge crowd that all hates the black fighter you're talking about, and you're the only black guy in the room, that's gonna make some black people uncomfortable. Once again, notice, I said some. And then you have a very small percentage of fans that may not like Floyd Mayweather for other reasons. But once again, what you guys have to understand is emotion and logic does not mix. Because when you mix it together, you end up with a lie. Going back to that Bumpy Johnson movie, I never told you what Muhammad Ali said in response to Bumpy Johnson saying, that's why everybody hates you, because you so cocky. He said the white man don't want to see no black man being confident. He want to see black people being submissive, inferior. He said, I am the greatest, and you should believe that you're the greatest too. You know, usually the more successful you are, the more you achieve, the more rewarded you are, but not when you're on the coincidental list. When you're on the coincidental list, it is the complete contrary. I mean, just think about this for a second. For Teddy Atlas to talk about Floyd Mayweather saying that he was cherry picking, he was just a businessman, let me ask you this right now. Name me a fighter fighting right now in his mid-30s that just recently said, you know what? I've decided I'm going to move up to another weight class, fight the best champion in that weight class who's almost half my age, naturally bigger than me, naturally stronger, and is going to weigh 15 to 20 pounds more than me the night of the fight, and then beat them. How many 36-year-old fighters do you know that's doing that today? Floyd Mayweather moved up in weight to fight the best fighter at 154, which was Canelo at the time. Canelo had just beat Austin Trout. By way of contrast, Canelo Alvarez moved up to 168 and he fought Rocky Fielding, the weakest link in the division, a guy that just came off of a previous first-round knockout loss. Floyd Mayweather has beat more fighters that were currently on the top 10 pound-for-pound list than any fighter today. So it sounds ridiculous to say all he did was cherry pick his whole career, because to beat someone on the pound-for-pound list, that's equivalent to someone beating Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, and Canelo Alvarez, or Vasil Lomachenko. Imagine if you had all those wins on your resume. There is no boxer in the history of the sport that was beating the level of opposition that Floyd Mayweather was beating in his mid-30s without losing. Almost everyone that Floyd Mayweather fought was coming off of their biggest win when Floyd was fighting as welterweight. I mean, guys, I can go way deeper than I'm going. I mean, I'm just giving you guys just a little bit. But once again, we're gonna start the live show up real soon. I promise you guys. You guys keep asking about it. We're gonna start up the live show real soon. I'm just putting the final touches up on my hotel/restaurant or sports bar out here in Thailand. And then after that, I'll be ready to set everything up. I'll be ready to get the studio back running and get them live shows cracking again. But I'm gonna close out with saying this. You know, old media's slogan is, if you can't beat them, change the rules. Let's change Lomachenko's record. Let's change the pound-for-pound list. Change, 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 until it looks the way we want it to look. But that strategy has proven to be ineffective, because the more new media speaks the whole truth, the more people start relying on their own eyes to tell them the truth. Once again, when I start the live show, we're gonna go a lot deeper into this conversation. But I'm gonna wrap this one up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.